What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, back again with the weekly comic book reviews. It's Wednesday, November 3rd, and as usual, I'm going to go over today's comics as spoiler-free as possible, and I'm going to try to do what I did last week as well, kind of tell you what all came out and what I did read and what I didn't read. Before we jump into it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. We are doing a giveaway for our next subscriber milestone of 135,000, and we're giving away a sealed copy of this all-new Wolverine Omnibus. Hang around to the end of the video. I'll give you more details on the giveaway, and I got to give a huge shout-out to Whatnot Comics. Man, you guys got to download Whatnot and follow me on there. It is absolutely the best place to buy and sell comic books. It basically combines live YouTube auctions with eBay, except you don't have to deal with eBay, you don't have to deal with PayPal. They've got their own built-in payment system and shipping system, which makes it super easy. And I'm going to be doing live auctions on there starting on next Wednesday, November 10th. So download the app. It's a great, fun place to buy and sell comics, and make sure to follow me there as well. All right, first of all, not a book that I read, but I did pick up the Storm Joe Jusko variant. This was for Sword issue 9. So now all I need is the Black Panther variant, and I have all, I think, 23 Joe Jusko variants, and I'm a happy camper. Also, big shout out to Valiant Entertainment for sending me this Harbinger #1 metal cover. I think this is the first time I ever had one of these. They kind of like adhere this metal thing to the front. I dug issue 1, big fan of Harbinger, glad to see him back, and thanks y'all for sending this through. Let's start off with some indies. So with Dark Horse, we have Lucky Devil issue 4 by Cullen Bunn, Fran Galan, and El Torres. Love this book since issue 1. It's been continually strong. It's about this guy who was possessed by a demon, went to an exorcist. The exorcist exorcised the demon out of him, but left the demon's powers. Since then, a lot's transpired. He's been like a televangelist, but for Satan and kind of his own religion. Basically, in this issue, he's making a deal with the devil so that he can continue to do what he's doing without the demons of hell coming after him. Super fun. It flows very fast and has a great pace to it. Excellent art and colors. Loving this series. Moving on over to Image Skybound, we have Firepower issue 17, Robert Kirkman, Chris Samney. Talk about fast pace, breakneck speed, but not like how Nonstop Spider-Man was. It doesn't feel like I'm going to have a heart attack reading it. It's just super fast, amazing coloring here. The coloring is out of this world. Basically, one big fight scene with Owen and his family against the Serpent Society or whatever you want to call them. And that's basically it. A quick, fast, it feels like you read like 6 pages. But it is enjoyable. I do think this is going to be more worthwhile in a trade or a deluxe edition or a hardcover or whatever, because kind of week to week or month to month or whatever, like I told you, it's just breakneck speed, but still a good series. All right, guys, moving on to Marvel Comics. Very light week for Marvel. I think I only read 4 titles. Star Wars issue 18 came out, continuing the War of the Bounty Hunters, along with Star Wars Bounty Hunter 17. I mean, how long is this thing going on? I'm not reading any of those, but what I did read was X-Men Legends issue number 8. This one's by Larry Hama and Billy Tan, and as you can see by the cover, Wolverine versus Omega Red. This was a nostalgic issue. I mean, you got Wolverine, Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike with Jubilee, and then some others that I don't want to mention because they kind of feel a little bit spoilery. But basically, taking place in that 90s era of the stuff that I grew up with, the kind of X-Men Wolverine villains and characters that I know and love, and it was just a cool flashback type of thing. I don't even remember the main story, fighting on a dock or something like that, or I don't even really remember, but I did have fun. Artwork was very nostalgic, as well as just the whole vibe of X-Men Legends. I like where we are in this era right now too, so definitely going to continue to read it. Then Amazing Fantasy issue 4 came out. They kind of lost me, so I skipped on that. I did read this Death of Doctor Strange Avengers #1, which feels like a one-shot, kind of a tie-in to what's going on in Doctor Strange. The cover kind of intrigued me, this huge juggernaut fist slamming down on Captain America. This one was by Alex Packnadel, along with Ryan Bodenheim, Rochelle Rosenberg, and Corey Petit. Dave Stewart cover here. I thought it was just okay. It's kind of like what happens when the Sorcerer Supreme is dead and not guarding the realm and letting all these other spirits through. And then if you think about Juggernaut, he's got ties to Doctor Strange with the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak. Well, the Gem of Cyttorak is what gives Juggernaut his power. So that's what we see here. But it's so much more deeper than that. It's not as face value as it sounds, of a story as it sounds. So I actually did enjoy this a little bit. The Avengers interactions were kind of weird. Captain Marvel with Iron Man, I don't know, that was kind of I don't know, something weird about it, but the overall story and kind of the ending of it and what Siderek had to do with this was interesting. Strange Academy has a one-shot out today, The Death of Doctor Strange #1. Oh, I guess I should have read that. I saw Strange Academy and I just skipped it because I'm not reading that anymore, but dang. Maybe I should have read it if it tied in with Death of Doctor Strange, but honestly, I don't know how invested I'm really trying to get into this Death of Doctor Strange thing. Like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me. Then we have Darkhawk issue 3. This one's by Kyle Higgins with Juanan Ramirez and Eric Arciniega, plus Travis Laham as the letterer. I loved it, man. I think, Kyle Higgins does a good job of fleshing out and giving a character depth, even though they might put on a spacesuit and fight and fly around. It's got stakes. It's got emotion. It's got people losing loved ones and really being hurt about it. As you can see on the cover here, I believe he lost. I don't even want to say who it was. It was in the last issue, but I don't want to spoil it. But they do a really good job of that. This character was a star basketball player, finds out he has MS. He's still dealing with that, even though he found the amulet that gave him the Darkhawk. Did I say Darkhawk in the beginning? The Darkhawk powers. Flashy, nice art style to it. It's enjoyable so far, for sure. And the last one for Marvel was Winter Guard issue 3. I flipped through it digitally. I get the PDFs of it, and although the art style is pretty good, it seemed like it was an okay issue. I couldn't continue to read it. I just have no interest. I'm not invested into the characters or the villains or the plot, so I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I didn't finish reading Winter Guard. It's just not really a series for me. All right, guys, moving on to Image. Let's start it off with Spawn 323. Todd McFarlane, of course, he is joined by Carlo Barberi. Spawn, King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn. You should be reading all of it. It's been amazing. It's been especially dark lately. This issue of Spawn was no exception. It has great art to it. And this one is basically a badass brawl between Spawn and some vampire bats. They turn into vampires, and you have this kind of battle. I really dug it. I really liked Spawn. They kind of been doing this thing with him lately where he's really weak and he's getting beat, and then he overcomes and totally destroys and humiliates his enemies, and that's what happens here. It almost felt a little bit self-contained, and it's funny. I think the vampires and like horror Halloween theme are kind of rampant throughout this week's comics, so this was the first of many. All right, then we have Primordial issue 2 by Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, and Dave Stewart. Dug issue 1 a lot. Issue 2 was so fast-paced. It was super trippy. The paneling and layouts that Andrea Sorrentino does, it's mind-blowing. And you're following the path of the little dog. Laika is the dog's name. I believe it was the Russian dog. And kind of what really happened to it in outer space. And we're going through this journey, and it's so crazy. It's almost like the ending of Interstellar, like it's in the fourth dimension or whatever, and kind of flashbacks of the dog's life and to where it is now. Like, we still don't know what's going on. What is this extraterrestrial presence that really happened during these missions? So I really dug it, but this one was super fast, man. Fast pace, not much dialogue. It was more following Laika's story. All right, then we have The Me That You Love in the Dark, issue 4. This is by Scotty Young, Jorge Corona, Jean-Francois Bailou, and Nate Picos. Holy shit, this one was crazy. Robbie called it. They had this great relationship, this painter who found this haunted house looking for inspiration. It really is haunted. They fall in love. They have this relationship. I didn't really see it in last issue, but yeah, the relationship is getting toxic, to say the least. And it gets really crazy here. And at first, some of the dialogue and back and forth of petty bickering between couples, it was a little cliche, and it was a little bit like, I see what you're doing. But I still liked it, and it gets crazy at the end here, man. So toxic relationship vibes for sure. All right, next up we got Radiant Black, issue number 9 already. We're on, I think, right? Yeah, Kyle Higgins joined by Marcelo Costa. I don't know. I'm kind of losing interest in the Radiant Black story. It was a touching story, though. I felt like it was all over the place, and I kind of was wondering, am I even reading this in the right order? But the person who was originally the Radiant Black is on life support. They're ready to pull him. His best friend, who's Radiant Black now, spending a lot of time with him, going through the motions. And I think Kyle Higgins does do a good job of showing, as like time progresses and as his friend's not getting better, his life is getting worse and worse, and just his routine and the kids making fun of him outside, and then he doesn't even go outside. And then you have the interaction between the other Radiant Blacks, the red one who put his friend in a coma to begin with. So the more I talk about it, the more I seem like I enjoyed it. I guess I'm just ready for something big to happen. Told you guys it was a big week for Image. Silver Coin is back with issue 6. This is by Joshua Williamson this time. Michael Walsh on the cover. High Score is this one, and you can see the kid playing the video games. I love this. This was right up my alley. The silver coin, having to play with kids playing arcade games or playing a Mortal Kombat type of game. Spawn is a character in there. And you could imagine how it goes with this kid who kind of sucks, puts in the silver coin. He starts winning, starts becoming like, obsessed and possessed by the game. Absolutely loved it. It had a backup story, I think. I don't even really remember it. It was kind of forgettable, but the main story, I really dug it. Was that a backup story? All right, then we have a new number 1 from Chip Zdarsky, Newburn, and he's joined by Jacob Phillips. Wow, what a different take from the Chip Zdarsky that I know. I really dug this. This is an ex-cop who basically solves crime family murders, and he works for the crime families, and it's a great detective type of book. It's kind of like, you remember in Seinfeld, Detective Bookman? It kind of reminded me like that type of detective, but it's fun, like seeing him figure things out, and we're figuring it out with it as we're reading along. The art style was great. It wasn't as like slapsticky as I'm used to Chip Zdarsky being. I thought it was a serious tone book. It was a fun read. If you like detective type of murder mystery type books, this one was awesome. Good Asian issue 6 came out today. I never got into that one. I didn't read issue 1, and I'm just, at this point, I'm too far to, what is it? Whatever. I think Robbie's reading this one. I'm pretty sure he likes Good Asian. Two Moons issue 6 is back. I feel like it's been a minute since issue 5. They must have had a small hiatus. This one's by Arcudi, Nero, Gian Giordano, and Suk. This was interesting. I feel like it was a flash forward a little bit from the time period that we were in during the first 5 issues, and our character basically out in the West, trying to bring one of his hurt comrades, trying to bring him to one of the American doctors to help him out here, really playing with the supernatural aspects of it. It almost has like a White Walker zombie vibe going on in this issue. Playing with the supernatural aspects, the environmental scenery looks amazing. I think the art style in this book is great, and it kind of really touches on like the relationship between Native Americans and the colonialists, or whatever you want to call them, colonizers, and kind of heartbreaking how tribes lost their land, and it's kind of tying into like that's where all this supernatural stuff is coming from, like the ancestors of these tribes. I mean, that's at least what I got from it. But I've always enjoyed Two Moons. I kind of wish there wasn't as long as a break. Maybe I'm just tripping and it wasn't a break. It felt longer than a month. All right, the Magic Order 2 issue 1 came out. Have no idea what that is. Now that I'm looking at it, I thought it was Magic the Gathering, and I didn't read it. But yeah, I didn't read that one. Inkblot 13, I'm not reading. I'm not really sure if I even heard anything about that. I don't think Robbie's reading that either. Frontiersman issue 2, I did give this one. I didn't like issue 1. And I keep name dropping Robbie. We do a top 10 comics of the week at the end of every week. I didn't like issue 1, so I gave issue 2 a try. It's by Kindlin, Ferrari, and Rosenzweig. I did like issue 2 a lot more. It's kind of like the self-contained superhero universe that we don't know about. The Frontiersman is like a retired superhero, and then he's meeting now. He's taking part of these like environmentalists stand against bulldozing a forest or what have you. So he's up in the tree, and then you have like basically his enemies are seeing him out there, and now they're stepping to him, and it gets trippy. Like one of his enemies, I feel like they go into some kind of other fourth dimension thing similar to Primordial or something like that. I did have a little bit more fun with this one. Issue 1 kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and this one I was into it. All right, and the last one from Image I read was A Thing Called Truth, issue number 1. This one is by Zanferdino, Romboli, and Andolfo. So it's kind of cute. I mean, you can see the cover and get an idea for the art style here. It's basically about this doctor who makes a breakthrough in her research, and it would really help out mankind, but doesn't really help out Big Pharma, which kind of ends up bad for her. That's kind of the premise of this. It was okay. I mean, it was a fun read. Well, I don't think I'll really pick up issue 2. It doesn't really feel like it was for me. I do like the character. I thought she was cute and kind of fun and everything. Like this doctor who she lost her husband to her work. Everything was about her work, and when she finally does the right thing, it was really the wrong thing for her, if you know what I'm saying. It was all right. All right, guys, let's move on over to DC Comics, and we're going to start with Batman Reptilian, issue 5 by Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. Yo, this book is insane. It's so crazy, but I love it, man. Okay, so Killer Croc has this offspring, kind of like unknowingly, whatever kind of creature he is, half human, half reptile, spawned this grotesque, bizarre type of monster, and we finally figure out what it is and everything. And the interactions here, Batman is like he doesn't give a shit. He's not worried about Killer Croc's feelings or the fact that this thing either wants it to nurse or have sex with it or reproduce with it or whatever. It is just so out there. I never would have thought this is where this book would have landed by reading issue 1, which was so dark and killing all of these rogues, and to where it is now. I'm still digging it, though. The painted art style by Liam Sharp is awesome. Batman is badass in this, setting up his informant as bait for this kind of grotesque beast that came from Killer Croc. It's a trip, man. We got a new one from Tom King. This is on DC Black Label, The Human Target. He's joined by Greg Smallwood, issue 1. Tom King, he's hit or miss for me. Like, there's things that I love from him, things I didn't like. I didn't like Rorschach, didn't really like Strange Adventures. I loved, I'm digging Batman and Catwoman right now. What else did he have? Mr. Miracle was dope. This one was a good first issue. This is about a character within the DC universe. How do I even explain this? He is a body double for people that feel like they might be assassinated. So he becomes a body double for Lex Luthor here. Somebody does try to kill him, and he's prepared so he doesn't die from it, but there's a twist to it there. I'm kind of digging it. It's a good issue to pick up. It's a good number 1. It's another kind of murder mystery type of book. Tom King storytelling, I think, flows well in this issue. The art style is great. I had fun with it. Speaking of having fun, Superman 78, issue 3 out of 6, Venditti, Torres, and Belair. This is the Superman 3 movie we never got. I loved this issue. Brainiac comes to Metropolis. He's not there to take over the planet. He doesn't want to hurt humans. He's saying Superman doesn't belong here. He's coming with me. And that's where we're at. We kind of introduced the Lost City of Kandor here. I don't want to give spoilers. I thought they went really deep with it. I love it. It looks and feels like 1978 Superman, but it's the sequel we never got. All right, next up from DC Horror, we have Soul Plumber issue 2. Loved issue 1. Issue 2 is just as good. This is a 6-issue miniseries by Parks, Zabrowski, Cassell, McCrae, and Mike Spicer. Anything Mike Spicer's on, I'm reading it. This feels like, I can't believe DC published this. This feels like it should have been on Image, or it's something that Image would have published, similar to Scumbag. This guy who is exorcising demons is kind of reminding me a little bit of Lucky Devil, a little bit from Cullen Bunn. Super raunchy, graphic, gory, and this crazy twist that I didn't really see coming. Exorcising these demons, but there's more to these demons than it seems. It also reminded me of going into the 4th dimension, kind of the same type of being that we saw in Frontiersman, and the same type of going into that place, kind of like in Primordial. I really liked it, and it's kind of, like I said, going in a different direction than I thought it was going to be, and I'm down for the ride, man. All right, next up we have Crush and Lobo, issue 6 of 8 by Mariko Tamaki, Newelfin, and Bon Villain. This was very much a filler issue. Crush is looking for her father, Lobo, ends up in this space version of Vegas, ends up being mistaken for someone's Tinder date, and just goes on the date, and it's kind of filler. I do like the writing style. I like the narration from Crush. I think it's refreshing and fun, and the art is nice and vibrant. So I did like it, although not that the overarching story is so big and grandiose that a filler issue was needed or that it hurt the main story, but nothing really happened here. Next up, we got Swamp Thing, issue 9 out of 10, the penultimate issue. Is that how you say it? Ron V, Perkins, and Mike Spicer again. So you know what you're going to get. Amazing coloring here. Art styles is great. You have Swamp Thing, brother versus brother. So his brother ends up becoming an avatar of the Green as well, as we can see from the cover. It's pretty much spoiled right away. Levi, the new Swamp Thing, using the powers of the Green to find who's captured his girlfriend. Alan Moore vibes. Great narration, great writing. It makes you think, and it's a beauty to look at. Next up, we got Batman issue 116, continuing with Fear State. This is by James Tynion IV, Jorge Jimenez, and Maury. Big shout out to Jorge Jimenez. I had a brief conversation with him on Instagram because I shared a video and tagged him in his Prime 1 Studio Punchline and Joker, and he re-shared it, and he said thanks for the video. I said thank you for the art. You're killing it on Batman. The art style in here is great, and if you guys have been watching this video, or these videos, I've been saying in almost every Batman issue, there's Batman panels in here that look like they could be statues by Prime 1, and then boom, Jorge Jimenez is doing Batman, Joker and Punchline statues with Prime 1. I feel like the story's moving along. You got a little Ghostmaker scene here. You got a nice interaction between Batman, Scarecrow, and Miracle Molly, and then the Peacekeeper 01. coming into his own. We're almost at future state now, right? The Magistrate and how they took over, and how Peacekeeper 01 lost his mind and became crazy and deformed and a huge villain. So yeah, a big explosive, great art style, great coloring, and it did move the overall story forward here. Next up, we have The Order of the World, Arkham City, issue 2 out of 6. Who is this by? Dan Waters, Danny, and Dave Stewart. This was one where I didn't really like issue 1. Robbie liked issue 1 a lot, so I said, you know what, let me continue to read it. Issue 2 I did enjoy much more. Another kind of detective story. This therapist that worked for Arkham Asylum being interrogated, question on where are all her patients, and they're even blaming her for like Batman rogues that were never her patients. But it's all about like the 10-fingered man with the 10 eyes on the fingers and everything, and she's kind of like a little bit in bed with the villains more than she should be, it seems like. I liked it. It wasn't as confusing, it wasn't as like convoluted as issue 1 felt to me, so it was kind of fun, a dark Gotham tale, if you will. Let's see, Teen Titans Academy issue 7 came out. I ended up dropping that one. I especially didn't like the little side stories. Batman, the animated series, or The Adventures Continue, issue 6, I ended up dropping it as well. Too many Batman books. It was okay, but it just wasn't like anything to write home about. I didn't read Batman Superman The Authority special one. I didn't really finish the Authority miniseries. I don't know, just wasn't really into it. What else came out? Justice League Infinity issue 5. It felt too cartoonish for me when I read issue 1, so I ended up dropping that. Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom issue 6 is out. Issue 1, I hated it. I thought it was whack, and I haven't read it since. Then we have Joker, a puzzle book, issue 4. This one is by Rosenberg with Marino, Del Rey, Ortiz, Arreola, De La Cruz, and Avina. This one has been getting worse and worse for me as well. But I'm still reading it for some reason, and I kind of like this one a little bit better. I mean, you still have Joker being interrogated, but he's telling these stories that he couldn't really possibly know what really went down about. This one is, what is it? Professor Pig's in here again. Again, I don't get Professor Pig, but you have, what is it? Is it the Penguin working with Catwoman, trying to get some kind of artifact? Bane's trying to get it at the same time. Is it Penguin? I feel like it's somebody else. Yeah, it was the Penguin. And then Mad Hatter's involved, and he's being interrogated. It's kind of like every issue has an interrogation with Joker and another character. This one was kind of Joker telling this story, you know, and at the end of the day, they're trying to figure out who killed Riddler. So at the end, we have what seems like a confession from somebody here. I don't know. It's not really that good of a story. All right, guys, now on to the pick of the week, my favorite comic book of the week. But before we jump into this, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Cheap Graphic Novels. Cheap Graphic Novels is your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they're now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. Cheap Graphic Novels is currently running a special promotion for the Geminites. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Mint Collectibles at checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is only valid for the United States. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. I appreciate that, Cheap Graphic Novels. And now, the number one book of the week for me was Dark Knights of Steel, issue 1, Tom Taylor, joined by Putri? Yeah, Yasmin Putri. This is the variant cover. I kind of like the cover A better. I mean, the variant's okay. This is a 12-issue miniseries, and it's Tom Taylor doing what Tom Taylor does best, giving you an Elseworlds what-if tale that's dark. I don't want to say it's post-apocalyptic. This very much feels like Red Sun, but with more of a twist than what Red Sun had. And instead of Superman being sent as a baby in the rocket to Soviet Russia, he gets sent earlier in time, and we're kind of in these medieval times, kind of like Game of Thrones times, if you will. I really like the twist on what's different about this compared to Red Sun, and the fact that you have a Bruce Wayne back then who's this armored Batman, and there's a twist within that as well, which I think is really awesome. Huge hook at the end that had me literally gasping out loud when it happened. I can't wait for issue 2. Tom Taylor, I'm a fan of this type of stuff when he does these big, epic, what if takes, not so much his like political stuff he's been doing lately, but I'm definitely down for this, for Dark Ages, and for stuff that he did like in the past, like Deceased and Injustice. And there we go, guys. Those are the comics for the week. Let me know what you thought about them in the comments down below. Like I said, we're doing a giveaway for our next subscriber milestone of 135K, giving away the all-new Wolverine Omnibus by Marvel Comics, still sealed. All you got to do is be subscribed to the channel, leave a like, and comment below. Once we reach the milestone, we'll go live, pick a random video where the giveaway was promoted, and use a random YouTube comment generator to draw a worldwide winner. We're still doing the 150K, but I'm going to do a couple smaller ones until we get there, and we're pretty close to the 135. Again, download Whatnot. Make sure to follow me on there. Just search for Mint Collectibles. It's going to be super fun. My first live auction there should be next Wednesday. Yeah, it will be next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm setting off Whatnot Wednesdays along with Comic Tom and the rest of the crew. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, but don't go anywhere. We got other videos for you to check out. Check out last week's new comic book day reviews if you missed it, as well as last week's top 10 comics with Rockin' Robbie Billups. Stay minty fresh, y'all. Peace.